Isn't living itself incredibly difficult and painful? Day after day, don't we live with anxiety, fear, and uncertainty, endlessly asking ourselves, how long must I continue living like this? Must I really keep living this way? Carrying these questions within me, I quit my work in my early 40s, more than 20 years ago, and entered graduate school to study religious studies, specializing in thanatology and the psychology of religion. In short, the purpose of my studies was to find an answer to the question, why must we live? It was not, like many others, to attain enlightenment, to cultivate the mind, or to study religion deeply. At that time, and even now, many teenagers and young adults post desperate questions online such as, why shouldn't I die? Why must I live? Please tell me the reason. They ask why they should continue enduring such painful and exhausting lives, when it seems unlikely that things will ever improve. And this is not merely a problem for the young. Many middle-aged adults struggling through difficult circumstances likely feel the same way. Personally, I worked at an architectural design office, where I carried out many projects, both large and small. Especially in design competitions, I often failed to win, and many major plans eventually collapsed. Year after year passed without meaningful results, while I worked late into the night every day under extreme stress. Then one day, a sudden thought struck me. If I continue living like this and suddenly collapse and die one day, what will remain of my life? I will have accomplished nothing. Wouldn't such a meaningless death be unbearably unfair? I found it impossible to accept such an empty death. More frightening than death itself was the thought of dying without having achieved anything meaningful. To speak more honestly, what terrified me most was not knowing why I was living at all, why I had to struggle through life, only to die someday wandering about ignorantly like an animal, pushed around by circumstances, without understanding anything until death suddenly arrived. At the same time, because I believed in reincarnation, the thought became even more terrifying. Even if I died naturally or committed suicide because life was too difficult, I believed I would simply be born again in another life. Perhaps due to my bad karma, I would be reborn into an even harsher, world-suffering violence and threats to my life from childhood, or once again studying desperately for university entrance exams, then for employment and afterward, enduring endless stress in a difficult workplace, only to spend another exhausting lifetime struggling before dying again. This led me to ask, what meaning do human life and death truly have? If I could not find the answer for myself then, even if I repeated thousands of lifetimes, it would all feel meaningless. And I became anxious and afraid that if I failed to find the answer in this life, I might never find it for eternity. So I set everything else aside and returned to study. It was not because, like the Buddha, I sought nirvana or liberation from the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Nor was it because of some noble bodhisattva, vowed to save all beings from the ocean of suffering. Perhaps some of you have also searched for answers to these same questions by reading books or watching countless lectures on YouTube, only to find no truly satisfying answer. Most advice simply tells us not to seek meaning, value, or purpose in life, but instead to empty the mind and faithfully live in the present moment. Yet such advice often feels incomplete, as though it fails to penetrate the essence of human nature, or provide a fundamental and systematic answer to the meaning of life and death. Of course, many people do find comfort and personal insight in such teachings. But for me, while studying religious studies, I devoted myself to the question, why must we live? In the same way, Buddhist monks meditate intensely upon a huadu, or spiritual question. For nearly 20 years, this question has been the central theme of my research. Every paper and every book I have written has been part of my search for an answer. Therefore, I believe I have thought, read, researched, and written about this issue more deeply than almost anyone else in the world. That said, I am neither what people commonly call a Christian nor a Buddhist. Rather, I am simply a psychologist of religion, who believes that even non-religious people possess within themselves an orientation toward some invisible, transcendent, ultimate reality. In search of answers to my own questions, I studied many world religions, as well as psychologists such as Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, William James, and Ernest Becker. Through those studies, I believe I discovered my own answers. The results of that journey are deeply embedded within the papers and books I have written. Based on what I have learned, I wish to speak about questions such as, who are we? Where did we come from and where are we going? Why must we live? What meaning is contained within our life and death? I hope to gather ordinary people and working professionals who, like me, carry these profound questions and suffer inwardly because of them, so that together we may share our deepest concerns about life. I invite all those who have long carried inner struggles. They could never fully reveal even to family or friends.